Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today we are going to discuss about the topic differences between traditional estimation and story point estimation. In this topic we are going to discuss on key elements in this traditional estimation and story point estimation. The first topic is people who are involved in the estimation activity. In traditional estimation, project manager, technical lead and architect, these people alone will be participating in the estimation activity and they come up with the estimates. Whereas in story point estimation, the entire team, that is the Agile team, will be participating. As part of backlog refinement session, team understands, clarify their doubts and participate in the estimation activity, and they come up with the estimation values. If in situations like, for example, the particular work item is related to some cloud concept, and we want to get some kind of clarity and guidance from team who is working on cloud concepts. So what we will be doing, we will be taking some support from some members of that team to understand whether we are identifying the right dependencies, right risk, whether we are understanding the right complexity of the work, and whether we are able to come up with the right amount of work that is required. All those things we will be discussing. If we are in need of taking a support from a person who is outside our team, still we will be doing that and get that guidance and support, and then we will perform the estimation activity. At the end we will come up with the estimation values. So in a nutshell, this first key topic is all about participants in the estimation activity. In traditional estimation, key members like technical lead, project manager and architect alone will be participating, and they call it as the key panel for the estimation activity. Whereas in story point estimation, it is the entire team, developer, tester, designer, who all are available, documentation engineers, who all are available in the team, they all will be participating in the estimation activity. If in cases we need some support from a third party team, we take their guidance and perform the estimation activity. Second point about the representation of estimation values. In traditional estimation, we represent the estimation values by absolute values like these many days, these many hours, like that. It will be always absolute values. Whereas in story point estimation, we follow relative sizing or relative estimation. So what is the disadvantage when we go with absolute values in traditional estimation? The problem is, as we are giving the absolute values, there are chances people always look for accurate estimations, right? Because when we are giving like 3 days, so the expectation is by 3 days we will be completing. So there is some kind of time factor that is involved, plus it is also about absolute values that bring some accuracy. So there are chances that we may deviate from the timeline because we are predicting in absolute values. But here the estimation is given with the help of relative sizing or relative estimation. So the advantage is always we are giving with some kind of cushion factor. When I say cushion factor, we always represent it with the help of Fibonacci series or t-shirt sizes, so that we are not going with absolute values. So there are less chances of deviation from the timeline. So the second point here is absolute value representation in traditional estimation and relative sizing estimation in story point estimation. Now the third topic. The third topic is, in traditional estimation, we estimate task. And when I say we estimate task which are of different work streams. When I say work stream, we estimate how many hours required for development, how many hours required for testing, how many hours required for design, how many hours required for documentation. So based on work stream, we estimate the task. And when we estimate this task, we will prepare the overall timeline of the project. For example, product A. Product A needs this much of timeline. For example, the product A, for building product A, we need 3 months. That is the overall timeline of the project. How are we coming up with that? We come up with that with the help of task. We classify the work streams that are required in that project, like design, development, testing, documentation. Then we perform estimation activity for different work streams. Now design needs these many hours, development needs these many months, testing needs these many months, documentation needs these many weeks. Like that we will come up. So after bringing up all these task based effort, now we will bring up the overall timeline, and that we call it as the project timeline, which helps us to build the product A or product B or whatever may be the project it belongs to. This happens in traditional estimation. What happens in story point estimation? First of all, in story point estimation, we estimate stories. When we say we estimate stories, story has all the work stream task inside it. Like a story will be having development activity, testing activity, design activity, documentation activity. Everything is combined in a story. We will not separately estimate task here. We will estimate at the story level, and we will not differentiate with the help of work stream, because a story is a combination of all the work streams. We always look for what is the complexity of the story, what is the dependency involved in the story, what is the risk involved in the story, how much time the story will be taking, and how much business value, what is the business value this will deliver. Based on all these factors alone we will estimate, and we will not estimate based on work stream. And the secondary thing is task estimation. We always give priority to story estimation. Task estimation is not mandatory and it is secondary, depends on the team. When team is in a matured state, there may no need of creating the task also. So task is always not mandatory and secondary. And there we were talking about project timeline. The entire project timeline we will prepare for 3 months. Here we are not looking for that. Here we are always looking for, okay, upcoming sprint, what is the value that we are going to deliver, and what are the things that we are going to target. That estimate alone we will make. So we are making a sprint plan and plan the things that can fit into that sprint, and what value that sprint will deliver. As a sprint goal, we will fix it and we will deliver it. So we are not looking for overall timeline here. We always go with sprint planning. So this topic I am going to again reiterate. The topic what we have talked now is on task. And in traditional estimation, we separate the work items as task, and the task also we will classify based on the work stream, like design, development, testing and documentation, and then we will estimate that, and based on that estimate we will come up with the overall timeline of the project. Whereas in story point estimation, task estimation is not mandatory and it is a secondary topic. Here we concentrate on stories. We will concentrate on estimating the stories. While estimating the stories, we will not classify based on work stream. Like we will not separately estimate development, not separately. No, there is no concept like that, because as a whole bundle, we estimate story based on the factors like what are the dependencies involved, what are the risk involved, what is the complexity, what is the business value it is delivering, what is the amount of work required. All these things we will consider to bring the value of estimate. And we will not look for overall timeline. Instead, we will only target on what is required for the upcoming sprint. That alone we will make it as a sprint plan, and we will fix a sprint goal as a team, and we will deliver according to that. Next point, in traditional estimation, always estimation will happen even before the development starts. Everything will be ready, like how much time is required and what are the things that we are going to do, all the tasks, everything will be available, and we have estimated everything, then only development will be getting started. So we prepare the overall timeline, and then we will be starting the development. Whereas in story point estimation, during the development phases itself, we will be developing different sprints. So from sprint A to sprint B, that time period itself, we will do estimation activities, because estimation activity will be performed during the backlog refinement sessions. So when sprint execution is happening for sprint 1, for sprint 2, the backlog refinement sessions will be happening, or for sprint 3, backlog refinement sessions will be happening. During those sessions, estimation activities will be performed, and we will be estimating the stories. So development is also happening for sprint 1, for sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4. For all the upcoming sprints, we are actually performing the estimation activities also. So the advantage here is we have an opportunity to learn from our retrospective meetings and understand what we can improvise and bring that as part of our estimation activity. In traditional estimation, we have performed everything and made it as a kind of like document even before the development has started. So we have no opportunity to implement or improvise our lessons learned. But here we have the opportunity, because we are developing, at the same time we are also preparing the estimation activity and doing the estimation activity for the upcoming sprints. So we have always the opportunity to do the retrospective meeting and understand what we can improvise and do it as part of the estimation activities. So here the topic is, when are we doing and what is the advantage. So here, before the development starts itself, the estimation is completed in traditional estimation. Whereas in story point estimation, in parallel to the development activity for the upcoming sprints, we will be doing the estimation activity, which means we have the opportunity to implement and improvise the lessons what we have learned from our previous sprints. And the last point is, in traditional estimation, we estimate the task and we prepare the overall plan, and based on this plan we will be doing the development. Whereas in story point estimation, we do these estimates, we do all these estimates to identify what is the business value that we are going to deliver, and based on that value we will be doing the development. Because if we see in every sprint, there is a business value that is involved. What value that we can deliver, what is the value that this story can deliver for the business, and in this overall sprint, what is the business value that we can deliver. Everything is based on that business value. So estimates, when we are making in story point estimation to identify the values also. Not only the amount of work done, it is also about what is the business value that we can deliver, and based on that we will be doing the development. Whereas in traditional estimation, we estimate the task, we come up with the overall timeline, we prepare the plan, and that plan completely drives our development. So these are the points I just want to quickly summarize about the differences. So just in a nutshell, we talked about who all are the people involved in the estimation activity and how the value is represented in the estimations and how the estimations are happening, and when the estimation happens, and then finally what is the development that is being driven by For example, in traditional estimation, we prepare the plan and the plan entirely drives the development phase. Whereas in story point estimation, we try to identify the business value that is involved in each and every story, and that drives our overall development phase. So these all are the points we want to remember as part of this question. What is the difference between traditional estimation and story point estimation? Hope this particular episode may be helpful for most of you. Thank you everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.